going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 22 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best abilities you should be using on offense right now. There were big changes to both ability points and abilities in MUT 22 today, and over the next 2 days, we're going to drop videos covering offense and defense. They'll be separate videos. Down below in the comment section, as a pinned comment, the defensive video is not out yet, but once it does drop, we will link it down there as a pinned comment in the comment section if you want to see that side of the ball. But we're focusing on offense today, and if you guys enjoy this video, if you feel like it helps you out, help me out, click that thumbs up button. Shows a lot of support on the channel, helps the videos get noticed. And also, if you're brand new here because you were searching around YouTube for ways to use ability points or the best abilities on offense or defense, you found the right channel, you found the right video. Click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on as well so you guys are alerted when we drop additional videos. Now, I am also going to link the article that EA put out going over all of the ability changes on offense. Here's what you really need to know. There were 3 main changes, and one of them isn't really a change. On offense, you still have 14 ability points that you can use to construct your team. Escape Artist went +5 for any archetype. We'll go over the specific numbers for each archetype in a moment. And then Edge Protector on your tackles went up 1 ability point. So it's basically 2 ability points for your left or right tackle, 4 in total. Let's start by talking about Escape Artist. Okay, so Escape Artist, very glitchy, definitely OP, and I am not mad. Some people think this is a little bit excessive. I think it's perfect. So this is what you need to know, right? There's 4 different types of archetypes for quarterbacks. So we have Field General, Strong Arm, Improviser, and Scrambler. And the cost on the Escape Artist ability for all of them went +5. So essentially what that means is for Field General, like the Joe Namath that we have right here, if you take a look, Escape Artist now costs 11 ability points. And remember, you only have 14 in total on offense. So 11 ability points for a Field General, 11 for a Strong Arm, 10 for an Improviser, and the cheapest is 9 for a Scrambler. So as you can see here with my Jalen Hurts compared to the Joe Namath I was just showing you, the cost, the ability cost is cheaper because Hurts is a Scrambler archetype. So with those numbers I just read to you, keep in mind you only have 14 total ability points on offense. If you use Escape Artist on a Field General, that means you only have 3 ability points left for the rest of your team. Same thing with Strong Arm. If you have an Improviser quarterback, you'll have 4 ability points for the rest of your team. In Scrambler, you would have 5. So then that kind of brings me to the next ability. I personally would say ditch Escape Artist at this point because the cost is way too high. Some of you might feel like you can't run your offense without it, so I totally get it. But when it comes to quarterbacks, in my opinion, I think you need at least Gunslinger or Pass Lead Elite on your quarterback, regardless of their throwing motion, their release, even if they have Slinger 1. So Gunslinger is the best, right? But Gunslinger is a little bit expensive, especially on like non-pocket passing type archetypes. If we go through the cost of those, it's 6 ability points on Field Generals, 5 on Strong Arm, 6 on Improviser, and as you can see with this Jalen Hurts, which is a Scrambler, it's 7 ability points. So with those numbers that I just read off to you, it is impossible to have a quarterback with both Escape Artist and Gunslinger now. With the 14 ability point limit, the math just won't work any other way. So a great value version of Gunslinger as Pass Lead Elite. And the way that works, if you read the description, increase throw power when leading bullet passes. So essentially you have to throw a bullet pass, otherwise it won't activate, it won't light up. As I mentioned, good version or kind of a great value version of Gunslinger. Gunslinger is still better, but it's much cheaper. So Pass Lead Elite on a Field General is 3 ability points. Same for Strong Arm, same for Improviser, and Scramblers, it's 4 ability points. So we just said it, there's no way possible to have an Escape Artist and Gunslinger combination on your quarterback, but you can go Escape Artist and Pass Lead Elite, and that will kind of get the job done. The only problem here is if you do that with a Field General or a Strong Arm quarterback, that's all 14 of your ability points. You can't use anywhere else or any on anywhere else on your offense. If you do it with an Improviser or a Scrambler, it would total 13 ability points, which is going to give you 1 extra for the rest of your team. So I still think that's just too much cost for one player, even if the quarterback is the most important player on your team. Too many ability points for one player. So after saying all of that, Pop, what is the best ability for a quarterback? In my opinion, you're going to want to go with at least two different combinations here. Number one is going to be Gunslinger and then Protected. Now, Protected only works on Field General and Strong Arm quarterbacks right now. You can't do it for an Improviser or a Scrambler. I'll tell you why Protected is going to be key. That combination you can go with, or you can go Pass Lead Elite and Protected, or you can just go Pass Lead Elite and or Gunslinger and not with the Protected. But again, I'll mention it here in a moment why else you would want to do that. Just one other kind of, I would say, budget or good ability for a quarterback, and this is mainly going to be on a Scrambler or Improviser, is going to be Roaming Deadeye. Perfect pack accuracy while standing outside of the pocket. So if you get outside of the pocket and you're throwing on the run, this is a good way to have more accurate passes, especially if like it's a deep or mid-throw accuracy isn't very good on your quarterback. So in my opinion, I still think Gunslinger is key, is king. You should go with that, but Pass Lead Elite is very good as well and much, much cheaper. Now, the reason we talked about Protected is because if we take a look at the offensive line, remember at the top of the video, guys, I talked about Edge Protector costing more ability points now. It used to be 1 AP and you could have basically one on each side of your tackles. Now, if you go to your left and right tackles here, you're going to see Edge Protector is 2 AP. So if you want both of them, there's 4 AP. We've already talked about how much we're using on our quarterback alone. And if you go to the inside of your offensive line, you know, your guards and your center, post up is definitely the move. Please don't put Edge Protector on a guard, by the way, but if you take a look, post up, this has always been 2 ability points, but it becomes very, very expensive if you want to put abilities on your offensive line, whereas Protected essentially is giving you abilities on your entire offensive line. And for a Field General or a Strong Arm QB, 2 ability points total to affect your whole offensive line. Now, when we do our defensive video tomorrow, we'll talk about this in more detail, but the reason we're concerned about our offensive line right now is with the new AP limit on defense, you can actually get up to 18 ability points, and they decrease the cost of Edge Threat Elite and a lot of pass rushing abilities. So many in the community think right now, and we still got to kind of test it out, but a lot of people think pass rush is about to become super OP. And that's why you want to have either Protected or Edge Protectors or post up or anything that you can get to help that offensive line. So let's talk about abilities on your wide receivers and running backs to end out the video. For a power back like Derrick Henry, Bruiser is very, very good. Armbar can be used as well. I think my favorite of all of those, though, is going to be Bulldozer. More powerful truck animations. You absolutely can demolish people, run them over with a power back like Derrick Henry, Christian Okoye, and the cost of it is really cheap at 1 ability point. Now, on a receiving back like Marcus Allen, and if you like to pass the ball a ton and you don't have Hot Route Master, which, by the way, I didn't really mention when we were talking about quarterbacks, Hot Route Master, if your offense depends on a bunch of different additional hot routes, by all means, rock it if you want to. Me personally, I think it's a little bit costly and it's not as good as it used to be because there's just a lot of really good offensive plays these days that don't require a bunch of different hot routes. And if you can use them on certain positions, like with Backfield Master here, you get additional hot routes with your running back. We're going to talk about Wide Receiver Apprentice and Slot Apprentice in a moment, but that's kind of why I kind of skipped over Hot Route Master anyway. If you do like to pass the ball a lot of people are running man coverage right now. Backfield Master is a key. Those angle routes, you can do the standard stock out routes, work very, very well. Mix it up with some table routes. This is a big way to beat man coverage in my opinion. And for 1 ability point, I think it's worth it on a receiving back. On a elusive back, Backfield Master is going to cost 2 AP. Also on elusive back, you can get Bulldozer for 2 AP. You can get Jukebox Spin Cycle for 1 AP, Evasive is 2 AP, and my recommendation here, I think the spin move and even the standard like juke move are so good this year that you don't really need an ability for those. You can if you want to, but in my opinion, you're either going to want to go with Bulldozer to run people over because spin is going to work just stock, or go with the Backfield Master if you like to pass the ball a lot to your running backs. For tight ends, there's not a ton I'm going to recommend here. I don't use any abilities on my tight end. I would say probably the best one is going to be Red Zone Threat improved catching versus single coverage in the red zone. So you're going to get animations if you can high point the ball to a taller tight end like a Darren Waller or Mike Ditka or Zach Ertz. They're going to get pretty good animations with red zone threat. I mean, you can always go with like tight end apprentice, but that kind of falls into the hot route thing, right? Are you really using the 4 additional hot routes on your tight end that much? Do you really need to justify it? It is 2 AP if you want to throw it in there. And finally, on to wide receivers. So there's 4 types of wide receivers when it comes to archetype. There's deep threat, there's slot, there's route runner, and physical. Physical, not very good. They don't get any abilities for really, really cheap. If you have a deep threat wide receiver, the main ability you want, especially if they're on the outside, and if you can afford it, put one on each of them, both the left outside and right outside wide receivers on your offense. By far, very glitchy. All the pros run it. Deep out elite, improved catching on deep passes outside the numbers. I believe with deep out elite, to be considered a deep pass, it's over 30 yards, but you'll see just on streak plays, one-on-one coverage, if you throw it up to a taller wide receiver, it's going to animate, it's going to light up, and these players catch the ball a ton. That Colin Johnson, that free 97 overall MCS card, I'm talking about it as if I don't have it on the team. Well, he can get it as well. It lights up all the time for him. One-on-one coverage, he's 6'6". It's forget about it. Like it's almost an automatic catch. So that is very, very good. Now, the slot type, right? The slot archetype, this card is actually physical, but he was built to get different abilities from different buckets based off of the winner of the Madden Bowl from Henry. So this is a really nicely designed card. He actually gets a route runner archetype bucket, so you can see we have route tech on him for 2 ability points. I may take this off and use protected on my Joe Namath. That's probably how I'm going to configure my offensive line as far as blocking and worrying about pass rush. But if you have that Colin Johnson, he has multiple buckets. The same with Cooper Kupp. So if I go over to the Cooper Kupp card, and you might need a slot archetype wide receiver on your team to do this if you can't afford a card like Cooper Kupp. But he's a route runner archetype by default, but I have slot apprentice on him because he has a slot archetype receiver bucket on his card. And for slot archetype receivers, the slot apprentice ability is only 1 ability point. If you put it on a route runner, it's 2. If you put it on a physical or a deep threat, I believe it's either 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it's 3. And then again, him being a route runner archetype, we're able to get route tech on there for 2 ability points. I said it a little while ago when we were talking about halfbacks. A lot of people are going to man coverage all game right now. Not a bad idea to have at least 1 route technician on your offense to get that separation against man coverage. So just to kind of summarize for wide receivers, because I felt like I was a little all over the place, and I apologize for that. If you have a deep threat archetype or a physical archetype, because I think physicals can get deep out elite for 1 ability point, you want to go with deep out elite. Again, deep threat archetype, physical archetype. If you have a route runner, definitely want to go with route tech for 2 ability points. You can go wide receiver apprentice on a lot of route techs now, which is only 2 ability points. That's going to give them 4 additional hot routes, whether they're in the slot, the outside, wherever. Or if you have a slot archetype receiver, you can go with the slot apprentice. They do have to be in the slot on your offense, but if you run like a gun bunch or bunch tight end, they can be on the outside or inside of the bunch and still get those hot routes. That's going to cost you 1 ability point on a slot archetype, and it's going to be 2 ability points on a route runner, which is still fairly cheap. And I think we covered pretty much all the positions, the best abilities. If you guys haven't kind of caught on or noticed it, here's how I have my offense set up right now. We have a route tech and slot apprentice on Cooper Kupp. We have gunslinger on Joe Namath, deep out elite on Justin Jefferson, deep out elite and route tech on Colin Johnson, and backfield master on Marcus Allen. I will likely be taking the route tech off of Colin Johnson and adding protected to Joe Namath because it's the same cost, 2 ability points. That's if I find that pass rush is about to be really dominant. I haven't played any games since the new AP update, and tomorrow we'll be dropping the video going over the best abilities and how to utilize your 18 ability points on defense. The link to that video will be down below in the comment section as a pinned comment once we drop it. Thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.